You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Do you know what episode number this is?
Geez.
157, bud.
I was going to guess 157.
Yeah, we're deep into keeping Canada weird by seeking out and highlighting the week's weird news. But you know what? Out of all of it, tonight's episode, number 157, will be the best one yet. I have a feeling.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I've never heard you say that before.
And to make it extra special and guarantee a victory tonight for keeping Canada weird, I got a special drink here.
Is it special? What is it?
Can I talk about it?
Of course. This is a safe space for you to talk about your special drink.
This is an orange pico tea, but as we were saying just before we went on air, I put like milk and sugar milk and sweetener in my tea, and it's like it's never perfect. It's not like a scientific system, but tonight I feel like I got the ratio perfect. I have the exact appropriate amount of milk and sweetener, and it's just so good.
Wow. Sounds like neither of us have an actual special drink tonight then, because you're drinking the usual and I have...
No, it's not usual. I'm drinking a miracle of milk and sugar.
No, that's your usual, man. You're not getting this one past me or the listeners. I have my back to basics usual, the small can of 0 sugar, 0 caffeine, Coca-Cola. Not special, but still delicious.
Yeah, here's the 157.
Mm-hmm.
Ding! I want to ask you, today, the day that we're recording this, Nintendo announced the release of their upcoming system, the Nintendo Switch 2. I know you're not really a gamer. Do you care at all? Are you excited? Does it mean...
Well, I do have a Switch. I have a Switch myself.
Okay. Oh, yes, you do. But do you use it?
I do, yeah. I enjoy playing Mario Kart and Monopoly on it.
Okay. Well, today Nintendo announced the Nintendo Switch 2, which is coming out in early June, and I don't know if I could be more excited. I've always loved Nintendo's products. Like they're not overly complicated, and you're not like burdened by like technology and stuff. It works, and I like it, and I'm pumped for the Switch too. So if anyone out there listening is a Nintendo person, I'm just as pumped as you are.
So you're gonna buy one right away, or?
Oh my God, yeah!
Really?
Take my money.
Really?
Take my money, Nintendo.
Oh wow! It'll take me a long time before I buy a new Switch, because I'm very content with the Switch that I have. Although, if I notice a real drop in worldwide players of Mario Kart because of the new Mario Kart game coming out, then maybe I'll be forced to switch. I don't know. But I love going online and getting creamed by people around the world in Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of people around the world, let's hear from one right now. We have a listener named Jessie who's been doing some really good work in Ottawa on the Robin's Donuts front. Sadly, she wasn't victorious on her mission, but she did put in a good fight of keeping Robin's Donuts in Ottawa. Here's what she wanted to share with us.
Good morning, guys. It's Jess from Ottawa. I'm just calling in with a little Robins update. Ottawa got their first Robins about a year ago. I think it was February 2024. And unfortunately, as of February 2025, it has closed, and we are now left without a Robins. My dad and my boyfriend and I tried single-handedly to keep them in business. We would go there all the time trying to boycott Tim Hortons. We absolutely loved Robins, but unfortunately the three of us could not keep the company afloat. So now our only option is to go out east and have as much Robins as we can every time we visit family. But good news is in about 2 months, we're going to be driving to PEI for our wedding. And we'll be making sure that we force feed our entire extended family as much Robins as we possibly can. So yeah, I just thought I'd pass that along. Really sad. Things seem to come and die in Ottawa. But yeah, okay. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
So Jess is introducing a bit of a theme that you're going to hear throughout this episode, which is going to be a theme of businesses failing. We're going to have a few stories set in that, but I want to say, like, to Jess in Ottawa, she put in a good fight, but it's going to take more than 2 people to keep a Robin's Donuts open. What she should have done is come to us earlier, to help support her, give her a platform to maybe rally fellow Ottawanians?
I'm not sure if that's the term, but certainly we could have promoted this location on the show over and over and over again to ensure its success. Unfortunately, we didn't have that opportunity. We're hearing about this after the fact.
Yeah. Too little, too late, Jess.
Too little, too late. I got another bone to pick with Jess, actually. Not to, I'm sure Jess is a good person. She had all the best intention of calling into the show, but have you gotten the invite to the wedding? Because
No, I haven't heard anything. No. And
I check my mail. I check it every day. I did not see an invite.
PEI, it must be an issue with the email. Maybe there's something wrong on her end with not getting sent.
The internet. Yeah, the internet. Yeah. Because we're close to PEI.
I know. I'd gladly pop over.
It'd be my honor, my pleasure. I would like to be the one to walk Jess down the aisle, to give her away, So I'm throwing that option out there if Jess is interested.
Just a soft pitch.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. We'll have an update shortly, I'm sure.
When I look at the subscribers and it's down 1.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. We got to get into it, though. I mentioned that Jess is going to introduce a bit of a theme tonight. But before anything, I want to talk about one other notable thing leaving beyond Robins at Ottawa. We cover a lot of roadside attractions, but we haven't for a while. And I think that's because they're more of a summer theme. Do you recall, it was I don't remember when this would have been, a long time ago, we talked about the world's largest dinosaur being a roadside attraction in Drumheller, Alberta.
Did we talk about that already?
I feel like we did. Maybe it was in the early days of the show. Because I knew that there was a 25-meter tall dinosaur named Tyra in Drumheller, Alberta that was used as like a tourist attraction with a gift shop. And I don't know how I would have known that were it not for this show. So I'm sure we covered it. Regular listeners will probably know better than I will because my memory is shot. I've had too much tea to possibly go back that far. But let me tell you this. Drumheller's towering and beloved dinosaur landmark is facing extinction as the local Chamber of Commerce recently announced plans to dismantle her by the year 2029. But with some community members organizing and a petition gaining traction, the fight to save this dinosaur may be just beginning. Let's listen to this story and talk this one out.
Well, this is it. Drumheller saying goodbye to an iconic landmark. The world's largest dinosaur, also known as Tira, will close for good in 2029. The Drumheller District Chamber of Commerce says that the adjacent gift shop and the visitor information center will also be shut down. It's been a towering symbol of Drumheller's rich connection to dinosaur history and tourism for 25 years. The chamber says that while this decision was difficult, it's an opportunity to refocus on its core mission to support local business and foster economic growth.
So they're getting rid of the thing. And I'm kind of surprised by that because generally the only reason to get rid of something like that would be that it's maybe it needs repair and it's like too expensive to repair or something. But a 25-meter tall dinosaur, that would probably cost significant money to even take the thing apart and get rid of it. So you'd think it'd be easier to just slap a fresh coat of paint on it. But it is a bit different because it's kind of like a building. People can go inside it and climb up it. It has 106 stairs that lead up to her mouth that's big enough for 12 people to stand together. So maybe there is some kind of internal maintenance that's driving up the cost. But they say that it's a huge tourist attraction. The Chamber of Commerce in Drumheller gives credit to this dinosaur for attracting over 100,000 people a year, which is, I don't know where they get that number. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, it's a big number, but it's at the end of the news report, they say that they want to tear this down so they can focus more on supporting local businesses and boosting the economy. And it just seems counterproductive to get rid of their biggest tourist attraction that draws apparently hundreds of thousands of people into that town to spend money and spend their time. And so it seems like there's something else going on here. Like there's something that they're not quite saying out loud here. I'd like to know a bit more about like what are the possible issues that this giant dinosaur was causing financially, or were there some politicians that recently were elected that are anti-dinosaur?
There must be something. It has to come down to money. Either the thing wasn't delivering on the promise to bring all these people. I think you got it. I saw a look in your face of, I know what's going on. Okay, what's going on in Drumheller?
Yeah. I got it. Yeah. So some recent politicians that were elected are highly religious and they don't believe in dinosaurs.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
It's like,
Solved.
we can't be promoting these pagan beasts that never existed.
Maybe that's it. But apparently there's a group of people that have organized that are trying to save this thing. Yeah, like every little town they have to have something. And for this town, it's the dinosaur. So
Well, especially when you already have it, it's one thing to build it from the ground up to say, okay, our small town has nothing really big. So let's, raise money, let's provide resources and build something really huge. But that takes a lot of effort, a lot of organization, a lot of money. When you already have the thing that's really huge and it's already built, why tear it down? They didn't quite get into that in the news coverage. They didn't quite dig deep enough, I don't think, to
I'm gonna,
satisfy our insatiable need for the truth.
yeah, I'm going to file this one under there's more to this story than refocusing and supporting local business. But with that said, let's get into it. We have a whole bunch of weird Canadian news stories from the past week to get into. Let's have our first ad break of the night. And when we get back, we have a trilogy of stories related to food in Canada. Let's get into them right after this break. Aaron, do you have a favorite vegetable?
My favorite vegetable would be spinach.
Spinach, really? I don't think that's a common favorite vegetable. I think I'd have to. For me, it's a toss-up between sweet potato and broccoli.
Oh yeah, I do like broccoli a lot, and I love sweet potato.
Sorry, I take it back. Green and yellow beans, I love them.
Oh yeah,
cucumbers.
Well, I was very affected by Popeye when I was a child.
Okay, and
I watched it and I believed it, and I've been a spinach fan my whole life.
Do you have any thoughts on lettuce?
Waste of time. Not a lot to it. Mostly water. I like a good spinach or a kale if I'm gonna, dabble in the greens.
Okay, well, I don't know what you'll think of this next story then, because we're certainly going to be dabbling in the greens with this one. We're going to have to travel to the University of Guelph, where an odd annual competition just played out. I'm going to read you a short article about the lettuce eating competition. Let me know what you think of this. At the University of Guelph, students aren't just hitting the books, they're hitting the lettuce, and they're hitting it hard. The second annual lettuce eating competition, hosted by the University of Guelph's Lettuce Club, saw competitors go head to head in a battle of speed, endurance, and digestive determination. Over 150 students gathered on March 28th to watch 20 competitors square off. The rules? Well, they're simple. The lettuce must be iceberg, it must be weighed, and it must be devoured as quickly as humanly possible. Contestants chomped their way through their mission with a staggered start, separated by a 7-second delay based on weight classes. But in the end, one competitor emerged victorious. In a blistering 3 minutes and 3 seconds, Alexandra Moussard conquered her head of iceberg lettuce and earned the prestigious title of Head Lettuce 2025 for the University of Guelph. Is that I've heard of a lot of competitions. I think especially with like the food eating ones, eat 1,000 hot dogs or whatever it is. I think eating a head of lettuce is pretty impressive. I don't think I could do that. And I've looked at photos and some video of this event. They are just standing there with a round head of lettuce and just going at it.
Yeah, I think I'd rather eat a full head of lettuce than I would like any kind of pie eating or hot dog eating contest, because at least you're not going to feel completely awful by the end of it.
You'd feel pretty rough though.
Would you like is lettuce that gonna be that heavy in your body? Like you eat ahead of it? Like it again,
I guess if you were drinking,
it's a pretty light
yeah, if you
food,
were
you know.
drinking a lot of water, I could just see it being pretty heavy in your belly if you didn't have enough liquid at the same time, because it's
But the lettuce is filled with
yeah, it's
liquid. It's a
true.
very
I guess in my mind, I'm thinking of cabbage.
yeah. Lettuce is very light. But I mean, I've never sat down. I've never eaten a full head of lettuce in one sitting before, so I cannot speak from experience here. I'm just imagining what it would feel like, and I don't have the
Why do you
facts.
think the University of Guelph has a lettuce club? Is it? I think they maybe like have an and there may be an ag school. They may have an agricultural kind of
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
That would be the only reason. If not, it's a very cool club to start.
Yeah, I mean it surpasses coolness even from the chess club or the whatever other the AV club and all the other cool clubs that are out there that are
Would
possible.
you?
The lettuce club is now the top of the list.
They party pretty hard. Would you join a spinach club?
Who is to say I don't have a spinach club right now? You've never been
Yeah,
invited.
that's right.
You don't eat enough spinach.
Um, w-
Show me your forearms right now. I can tell you how much spinach you eat. Very little.
I may not eat a lot of spinach. I do eat a lot of McDonald's, though.
How much McDonald's do you eat?
Oh, actually, I was thinking about this today. When I was a kid, I was mentioning to my kids who were being ungrateful. I mentioned to them, like, when I was a kid, going to McDonald's was like this special thing. Like, we only went every so often. It was like a special event. My kids and I go, like, I hate to say it, like twice a week on average, maybe three
Oh,
times a week.
that's not too bad. I had McDonald's this morning on my way to work. So
Was it like an on land restaurant? Like, did you drive on land and like park your car and go in, that sort of thing?
define being on land because land is on water. So
Okay.
if I'm on the land, am I technically on water?
Well, when you hear the next story, you'll know what I'm talking about. There is something in British Columbia called the McBarge. I've never, just like the Drumheller Dinosaur. I think a lot of people are going to be unfamiliar with the McBarge, although it has been hanging around for some time. The McBarge was a floating McDonald's restaurant used in the Expo of 1986. So again, a McDonald's restaurant built into a large barge or boat that just kind of floated around on the Fraser River. But since Expo 86 ended, the McBarge has been abandoned, just parked there in the Fraser River. Up until now, it's still abandoned and it's still in the Fraser River. It's just not floating anymore. The McBarge is in the news because the McBarge McSunk. Here's the story. Am I clever?
It's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
McSunk.
Here it comes.
A relic from Expo 86 has sunk into the Fraser River. The McBarge, which was a floating McDonald's in False Creek, has been docked in Maple Ridge for years. But now the rusty vessel has capsized and much of it is now underwater. CTV's Ben Nesbitt joins us live from the Fraser River with more on this. And Ben, it is the end of an era.
Yeah, Mijung, any hopes and dreams of a Big Mac and fries out here on the Fraser River appear to have been washed away. The boat does appear to be sinking towards the bottom of the Fraser River. So far, we haven't actually seen anyone here on site actually trying to do anything about it. No one from the government has been here yet. The boat had been sitting there since 2015. Before that, as you mentioned, the vessel served as a McDonald's restaurant in False Creek during Expo 86. It was supposed to be a McDonald's after the fair ended, but the deal fell through. The owner is Howard Meakin. We tried contacting him. We have not heard back. We contacted the Ministry of Environment. They say Transport Canada is monitoring it and will do an assessment. The ministry adds the vessel was assessed in late 2023 and there were not any environmental concerns. Now, we have reached out to Transport Canada trying to see what's going on, when they'll be here, if they'll be here, and what the next steps are, but Mijung, we have not heard back.
This story could be called like the floating restaurant that's sinking and nobody cares.
Nobody cares, except for this one reporter.
What? The reporter's there and he's like, no one is, it's behind me sinking. It appears to be sinking towards the bottom of the river, which,
Yeah.
why did he say that? Of course it would be sinking down.
Yeah, he's got a good grasp on what sinking means.
Yeah.
It's good that he did his research before he tackled this breaking story.
The McBarge is sinking and nobody seems to be doing anything. It's kind of up to him to decide at this point of making this this news clip. Are you going to help or what?
Yeah, he's standing there. He's on location doing nothing. At least everybody else is not there doing nothing. He's standing in front of it, watching it sink, and he is doing nothing.
It seems what he's doing is he's calling places. He's trying to call the owner. He's calling Transport Canada and this marine place, and everyone's just like, oh,
It's
that thing's still floating?
yeah. I thought it sank years ago.
Yeah, and they tried to give its history there. I couldn't figure much about it because it was a floating McDonald's in the World's Fair Expo '86. So it would have been a McDonald's then. And then they said it's been abandoned since 2015. So like what was it from '86 to 2015 if it wasn't like a floating McDonald's?
They didn't say. I was assuming it was still a floating McDonald's, but maybe not.
I'm sure we would have heard if it was. Maybe I don't know.
I don't have my ear to the ground of what McDonald's restaurants float and which ones don't, though.
A floating one is kind of a silly idea. That just seems like a logistical nightmare.
Well, there are restaurants on boats. It is.
Yeah, but they're not McDonald's.
What's the difference, though? Like you take a ferry and it has a cafeteria on it.
That's true.
What's the difference between there being a McDonald's? I mean, you and I have been on the PEI ferry together. We got what is it, Cow's ice cream?
Yeah, that's right. This isn't a ferry though. It seems to be just a big barge that floats around. But I guess if there's enough people on the river and stuff, they could make it happen in the summers at least. Like I'm in Halifax, a port city. We have a large harbor. There's tons of people downtown, but I don't think a floating restaurant like McDonald's could make it work.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the Fraser River is any more active.
I don't know. It's again, we're not boots on the ground on this one. We don't really have. The only information we have is the coward reporting on this, who's refusing to do anything about it.
Who won't jump in the water and put
won't
an
get
end
his
to this.
hands dirty on this one.
Yeah, it's if anyone listening knows anything about this McBarge, I'd be interested to hear about it. It's much like the Dinosaur. There's just so much to this story that doesn't come across in the news reporting. And a cursory Google search before we went to air tonight also didn't answer my questions. So what we need is Keep Canada Weird correspondents who have their ear to the ground of these communities to fill us in. But these aren't the only mysteries of tonight. Perhaps the biggest mystery of our night, one that I hope we're up to the task of solving, is the next one we're going to get into. We've talked a lot in the past about stories involving large quantities of things being found in unexpected places. I think the first story that tipped us off to that was an incredible amount of rotisserie chickens in the woods in the Yukon.
Mm-hmm. The rotisserie chickens. There was the lobsters. Where was that at? Do you remember?
I remember it was on the side of a highway, and I'm feeling like it was BC, but that could be wrong.
Yeah, that's just a guess probably. But there was the pile of lobsters. And what was the recent one that we talked about?
It was the pills in the woods in New Brunswick.
That's
it was
right,
like 40,000 meth pills or something. Anyway, it's happening again. This one is just breaking now. I'll ask you to read it if you wouldn't mind. This is a story coming out of Vancouver. It's the latest example of an incredible amount of weird things being found in a singular place.
Vancouver's Kitsilano neighborhood has become the latest setting for Canada's strangest mystery. Why do large amounts of random objects keep turning up in the weirdest places? The latest installment in this ongoing saga, first identified by the Keep Canada Weird podcast, comes courtesy of a local dog owner who stumbled upon an unsettling scene on March 24th. Pieces of cut-up hot dogs spread across a small park-like area on 5th Avenue. I was frustrated that it was that many pieces, wondering why someone would do that. said the local dog owner, who took matters into her own hands and cleaned up the scattered wieners, totaling an estimated 30 to 50 hot dogs. When asked why someone would do this, she speculated it could be for two reasons. Granted, there would be sharp objects or toxins on the hot dogs, or they wanted to feed and support animals outside, she said. I have no other logical explanation other than these two. She even sliced one open looking for something sinister inside, but found nothing. She has no clear answers, but is hoping the culprit considers a more conventional way of disposing of their meat products.
So this is a weird one. So what I went on Google Maps to look at this park-like area that's described, and I found exactly where they were found. And it's not even really like a park. It looks just like two or three apartment buildings in a row with kind of a big grassy kind of front lawn in front of them. I wouldn't even describe it as a park, but it seems like somebody or some group of people took 30 to 50 hot dogs and chopped them up into little like 1 inch long pieces. And these were cooked hot dogs and spread them all across this one area. She's out walking her dog and found them, and she went around and picked them all up. So in the news article that I saw, she has a bag of like just a big bag of cut up hot dogs. So as she puts forward in that article, she has two theories. Someone was doing it to harm dogs and would have put like, I don't know, needles or something in them, or someone was doing it to feed outdoor wildlife. But that's even like if you're feeding wildlife, that's a hell of a lot of food.
Well, this is a park-like area, as it's stated in the story, right?
Yeah, that's what they say in the story, but I wouldn't call it that. I would call it the front lawn of a group of apartment buildings.
Okay, so it's a group of apartment buildings. There's some kind of a green area out front that possibly residents of the apartment building could picnic, would you say?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so that's plausible. So maybe they're having a bit of a community gathering for the people in the apartment buildings. And a really easy way to feed a large group of people is hot dogs. So maybe
It's cheap.
maybe they've got some kind of a heating system out there. They're boiling up hot dogs, right? And then the cook, who's preparing the boiled hot dogs, knocks over their pot, and all the hot dogs go everywhere. All of these cut up hot dogs, because maybe they're making craft dinner as well, and they're going to combine the two. So that's why they're all cut up, which is how I would handle my hot dogs if I were putting them in craft dinner.
That's a compelling theory, but 30 to 50 of them?
Well, I mean, how many apartments are there, do you think?
I guess you could get 30 to 50 kids down for free hot dogs.
Yeah. Some kind of an apartment celebration of maybe the anniversary of the building opening, or maybe it was somebody's birthday and someone who's beloved in the building.
I think you're on the right track, but I feel like if that many people were involved in this and knew about this, this wouldn't have made it to the news as an unsolved mystery. Someone would have come forward and spoke.
Yeah, but
I think
they're embarrassed, or they're afraid that they're going, I didn't clean the hot dogs up, I'm going to get charged or whatever.
The buildings are going to be tore down.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking more that this has the hallmarks of a lone wolf kind of attack. Like someone late at night has it out against, I don't know, someone in the building who hates rats. So they're putting a ton of hot dogs around to just inundate the rat population and encourage a colony.
Why hot dogs though? Just because they're cheap, or do rats
yeah,
like
or maybe
hot dogs? I mean, the
well,
rats probably like
I don't know
anything,
if
but
rats are like anything, but I guess if you wanted to attract an animal that only ate meat and you needed a lot of food, 30 to 50 hot dogs is probably about the cheapest way you could get that much meat.
yeah. Sounds like they're trying to attract raccoons, maybe.
Maybe it's someone's love for raccoons just gone a little too far. But this mystery, it's not solved, and I don't know if it will be solved unless someone comes forward.
You know what it really is that we've uncovered a new conspiracy similar to the animal uprising, the teenager uprising, and various other groundbreaking conspiracies that we've uncovered on this show. And leaving more than one of something somewhere is the new animal uprising.
And it seems like a part of the trend is like the next person is always trying to level it up. It starts with the rotisserie chickens. Someone took it a step further and was like, I'll be even crazier. I'll do lobster. Then some people in New Brunswick were like, we'll put meth in the woods. Now this is someone with a good sense of humor. I'll cut up hot dogs. This is going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, I'm concerned that there's something more sinister at play here, something that we're not seeing, something that this group of people or underground organization is up to, leaving more than one of something somewhere. It concerns me.
Well, the next batch of stories are also going to concern you. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll hear the story about a salesperson who peed on a car, and we'll also talk about the tallest kid in Canada, if not the world. We'll get to that after this break. Aaron, when I think back to my childhood, elementary, junior high, high school, I was always the short one amongst my group of friends. I was skinny too, so I was just this tiny little guy. And I remember always thinking, like, I can't wait till I grow up at least enough that I'm the same size as my friends, or I get enough meat on my bones that a shirt doesn't just hang around me like a large garbage bag or something. And it wasn't until I was about 25 that I actually had anything beyond skin and bones on me.
Yeah, I was always short as well. I was the same height as my friends up until grade 8. And then into grade 9. And then all of a sudden I was just looking up at everybody.
Really? Yeah. I was always the small one. I don't know if I am now. Do you consider me a small person?
Well, you're a little taller than I am, so.
Yeah, I guess, but maybe we're both below average in height.
I'm definitely not a tall man.
Well, the next guy we're going to talk about is, at just 14 years old, Jeremy Goyer of Quebec already towers over most basketball players. This 14-year-old is 7'3", and he's still growing. While the sheer height draws constant attention, Goyer embraces it as an advantage, using his towering frame and relentless work ethic to chase his basketball dreams. Let's listen to this news story. They don't say it in the article, but I'm sure this must be the tallest kid in Canada. Here's his story.
Jeremy Goyer may look like a typical 14-year-old boy, but stand next to him and you may feel a little small and find yourself looking up, way up. At 14, he's 7'3" and counting.
When I walk somewhere, everybody look at me and say, wow, you're so tall, man.
But where he really gets attention is on the basketball court. He's been playing since he was 6. Already at that time, he was well over 5 feet tall. Coach Daniel Malumba first spotted Goyer at a U14 tryout and says he couldn't believe what he saw.
He's young, he's actually 10 years old, and he was already 6'5". I was actually surprised, okay, so I see that's potential. That's actually interesting. See, if it's 6'5" at 10 years old already, then that's definitely something that we could do.
An old saying in basketball that you can't teach height, but there are a lot of skills to learn. And for the last 4 years, former player Malumba has been working one-on-one with Goyer to get him where he needs to go.
His greatest assets, beside him being tall, is actually his work ethic, and he's really competitive.
His father, Felix, says while there's some height in the family, Jeremy is a towering exception.
We did have a bit of concern at the beginning, but we did put him through a number of tests over the years, and everything always came back negative, so we assumed that it was his genetics.
At 242 pounds with size 20 feet, Goyer still isn't done growing. He says it's not always easy to stand out.
Sometimes I would like to be 5 foot, to disappear, but I prefer to be 7 foot and perform on my sport.
And he's putting in the hours to make it to the next level. His father says they don't want him to feel pressure.
Honestly, whether he gets there or not, I just want him to like what he's doing.
Taking a big shot to one day get to the NBA.
My mind is just blown by the sheer height of that kid. He was over 6 feet tall at 10 years old. Now at 14, over 7 feet tall, like 260 pounds with size 20 shoes.
Yeah.
This guy is a giant.
Massive.
Well, I guess he is a literal giant. Like if you're that tall,
Well, he's
you
not
must
done
be.
growing. He's gonna be like 7'7" or some. I mean, he's gonna be huge. He's gonna be huge.
It's actually a little bit scary. Like I'd be concerned about what's causing that. And they say in the article, we hear his parents or his dad say they had him tested for all this different stuff, and it just seems to be how tall he is. But when you look at the video that we watched together there of him playing basketball, he moves and stuff like a regular guy. He's just huge.
Right. How come he has an accent and his father doesn't?
Yeah, it's a good question. He has a thick French
He's
kind
got
of
a
accent.
really
His dad-
thick accent. And his father just doesn't have an accent.
He also has a very deep voice, but maybe that's just a part of it. His like I guess if you're tall, maybe it makes your voice deeper because your vocal cords are bigger and stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, that's above my pay grade to answer those questions.
But if you were like if you're 7 feet tall, that's the kind of height where your home needs to be like you would need to have a home that's kind of modified to accommodate you.
Yeah, well, everything's going to have to accommodate you the rest of his life, traveling and, especially if you're going to be playing basketball, like taking an
Getting on an
airplane
airplane.
or a bus or whatever is going to be extremely challenging for someone of that size. And
Yeah, it's wild.
it's going to get
It's
real
size 20
uncomfortable
shoe.
for him.
Yeah, size 20 shoes. Where would you buy those? Like I guess online
The
nowadays.
internet, yeah.
Who am I kidding? Tallguyshoes.com has them.
There are other giants out there, I'm sure, that all need enormous shoes.
Yeah, but it must be like his height and size. That must be like a 1 in a million kind of thing. There's no way that's common. That's why I say he has to be the tallest kid in Canada. There can't be a 14-year-old taller than him.
Well, I mean, if there was, he probably wouldn't have been covered in the news.
That's a good point. Yeah, but basketball, that's an obvious like venue for this kid. If he's athletic and that tall, he has the natural ability. Why not go for it? I hope he goes pro.
It'd be interesting if he wanted to be a horse jockey.
He would have a hard time. It would be an uphill battle. Do you think he could be a salesperson?
I think he could be whatever he puts his mind to. Like they say in the story, he's got the work ethic, so he can dream whatever dream he wants to dream, and I support it. And I hope he finds what he's looking for, and not to worry about what his father wants or what his coaches want. It's about what he wants.
That's true. And I hope he's listening because I don't want him to get lost chasing someone else's dreams when there's a whole world out there for him. But if he does want to be a salesperson, I hope he continues to listen to this next story because it's a pretty good cautionary tale about what not to do if you're trying to sell stuff door to door. While on vacation, Steven Slouse expected to relax, but instead he got a shocking security alert to his phone that changed the way he will see door-to-door salespeople forever. The footage didn't show a break-in, but rather a Rogers contractor casually urinating on his vehicle before walking away, leaving him disgusted and demanding more than just an apology. Here's the story of the salesperson in BC who got caught peeing on somebody's car.
Once this door-to-door salesperson realized no one was inside, they took a walk around the Salmon Arm home.
Got an alert someone was at our front door, and then it said someone was in our carport, and then we reviewed the footage, and he was standing at the tire there, and I thought he was going to try to break into the vehicle.
Instead, the Rogers sales rep did something Slew says was far worse.
And then unzipped his pants and took a leak on the vehicle and casually walked away.
Slew, who was out of town at the time, watched in shock the bizarre act unfold in an area where his children play.
Like I usually pull the vehicles out and they practice riding their bikes in there, so it's even more personal because They don't need to ride their bikes through urine.
In a statement to Global News, a spokesperson for Rogers says the individual is no longer employed by the vendor, and we've reached out to the impacted homeowner to apologize for this incident. Rogers has also offered to pay for the cleaning of the vehicle and carport.
I'm kind of expecting a bit more. It definitely ruined the last night in Nanaimo where we were, and driving home, all I could think about was someone peeing on my vehicle for no apparent reason.
This incident making Slew more weary of those knocking on his door.
Door-to-door salesmen, they're always disrespectful, very pushy, and I'm just glad this was caught on camera.
I think the reporter got it right there by describing it as a bizarre incident. If you were doing that job and you have to use the bathroom, I get it. But there must be somewhere else you could tuck away than like on the side of someone's house. And even if you were going to go on the side of someone's house, what this person does is he walks up and literally pees on the passenger side front tire. Like he gets right up against the car and pees all over the side of the car. Unless it's like he's doing it to screw with the homeowner, why would you choose that as the private spot to use the bathroom? Like he walks in someone's covered carport and pees on their car.
I think it's personal. I think he did it intentionally, obviously, because when you hear what the homeowner says at the very end of the news clip,
they're pushy and aggressive.
Yeah, blankets all door-to-door salesmen with the same brush, and says, "Oh, all door-to-door salesmen are pushy and disrespectful and etc." And
yeah, like they probably cut off that quote from him because he went on to say, like, just 2 weeks ago, this one came and I had to give him the finger and kick him off my property.
Yeah, and I tried to pee on him when he came to my door because I was in the middle of peeing and I was upset. So, but yeah, so this seems like a lot more happened leading up to this incident than we have access to.
I don't think anything happened between the homeowner and the salesperson, because I don't think, like, a salesperson is typically they just kind of descend upon a neighborhood and knock on everyone's door and then poorly explain what they're offering and try to get you to sign up for something.
I think this homeowner has a reputation.
I don't think so. I think he sounds like a nice guy. I think this person who peed on the car probably hated their job, was having a crappy day, and was just taking it out on this guy's car. But the guy in the clip, he seems like a nice guy to me.
Yeah, but then he was like, it ruined our last night on our trip. And it's like, you know, what's wrong with you, man? You can't enjoy your last night just because there's some urine on your tire at home?
Really? You can't relate to that? I'd be flipping out. If on my phone, like when I have the video doorbells and video cameras all around my house, and when something moves, it notifies me via my phone. If I'm on vacation and the notification I get to my phone is somebody like walking into my carport and peeing on my car, yeah, I'd be agitated. And it's not about the pee, it's about like the disrespect, the invasion of privacy, and I'd be furious, and I don't think I'd be able to just be like, man, whatever.
Yeah, but enjoy the rest of your vacation and then deal with it when you get back. I mean, you have your cameras set up so you'd know if they were coming back over and over
again.
To continue to pee. So if it only happened the once, it's like, all right, well, I'll deal with that when I get back. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my vacation. I'm not going to let a door-to-door salesman's pee, ruin what could be a lovely time with my family.
Yeah.
But it's really unfortunate that we have so many surveillance cameras now, because you used to be able to freely use the bathroom in somebody else's yard whenever you wanted, and you didn't really have to worry about getting caught.
Yeah, without any fear of being on the news and losing your job.
Yeah. Yeah, those days are over, because, I'm sure there must have been times where you had to go to the bathroom and a neighbor's yard was your only option.
Mm-hmm. But usually it'd be like something like a bush where you can kind of like get like in the bush a little bit, so you're kind of a little more modest. I would never pee on someone's car in broad daylight. Unless they deserved it.
Exactly. So I would like to think that this guy deserves it. And I don't think this will be the last time someone pees on his car.
Okay. Well, we're
I'm not saying I'm going to do it.
We have differing opinions on this because I think this homeowner is a stand-up guy. I guess I'm biased
Really?
because I like when he said, like, I pull the cars out and my kids like drive around in there. I was like, what a
That's
nice
all
thing.
an act. That's an act. Come on, you buy that? The real salesman is this guy because he's selling this country on the fact of him being a nice guy who doesn't deserve to be peed on. When in fact, and he made up that whole story like, oh yeah, my kids ride their bikes where this man peed, and we have so many lovely memories where this pee is now, and I'm such a good man, and everything I do is for this community, and now and all the charity work I do is where that pee is.
You may be right. I guess we'll let the Keep Canada Weird listeners be the judge and jury in this one. But we got to put the weird news stories behind us and move on to what may be the most important task we've ever taken on the show, the most important mission we've ever taken on. We are committed not just to Keep Canada Weird, but to Keep Canada Romantic. We're here to help listeners and correspondents of Keep Canada Weird find interesting stories with a side order of finding love. It's a new mission we've taken on. And you know what? Last week we played our first Keep Canada Romantic dating profile, a young man named DJ from Halifax. And oh my goodness, I think we may have knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. It was so far, Keep Canada Romantic has been a huge success, depending on how you look at it.
Here's what's happened. I'm going to fill people in on what's happened behind the scenes since the last episode, and then we're going to hear another dating profile, and that's how we'll end the show. But first, here's what happened. We heard DJ describe himself and describe the type of person he's hoping to meet. We have received interest in the form of a message I'm going to read just a short piece of. A message came to the email address with the appropriate subject line. In jest, I said the subject line needed to be Keep Canada Romantic DJ I'm interested in connecting with him. That was the subject line I got in an email. And they said, I won't use their name. They've said, I've been trying the online dating thing for too long, and I've never once read a profile that has a certain 3 things all together. It's hard to find someone with even one of the 3 things, so I had to try and connect. Those 3 things: dogs, tennis, and playing card games. 3 things DJ mentioned. This person who wrote to me went on to tell me a little bit about themselves, where they're from, and asked to be put in touch with DJ, which I did do. I took the email, I forwarded it to DJ and said, DJ, it's up to you. If this seems like a match, go for it. But there was definitely some glaring issues, specifically in terms of location. DJ ended his dating profile by saying he wants someone from Canada. The person who wrote was an American. But I asked DJ for an update, and I actually, just before we went to air, I got a message from him, and here's what he had to say. Hello, Jordan and Aaron. Thanks for airing my dating profile last week. I did receive the reply. I'm all for meeting people across Canada, especially since I want to explore this country more. A trip to meet someone I've been talking to would be very exciting. While I'm sure she's a wonderful person, what's going on in this world makes me willing to wait for one of the 20 million amazing ladies here in Canada. My whole takeaway from that whole experience so far, we've only done one dating profile, but the fact that we got a response, someone interested, I think that's proof of concept. Like, I think this can work.
I think it can work as well. I think we need to keep going forward with this. We need to move on to our next dating profile.
Let's hear from Charlotte. Charlotte's not a Canadian. She's an American down in Texas, but I think she's willing to meet with a Canadian. And for anyone out there who's looking for a match, especially a unique match, listen closely, because Charlotte might be a winner. Here it comes.
Hi guys, so I was just wanting to send in my dating profile because I just heard y'all talking about it on some of the latest episodes. Here we go. My name is Charlotte. I'm from Texas, so I'm not even sure if that makes me eligible for this. But anyway, I'm a 39-year-old mom. I'm a cashier, but I'm also starting my own business selling spiritual products, and I'm a social media influencer. I read tarot, and study the paranormal, like ghost hunting and many other things. I have 3 cats. I love outdoor activities, especially climbing trees. I love reading. I like watching old school sitcoms, and I'm obsessed with true crime. It'll be an absolute miracle if you get any responses to all this weird stuff on my dating profile that I just told y'all. But thank you. I really love your guys' show. You're hilarious. And I'm excited every time there's a new episode. Thank you.
Now, let's just be honest. I think I'm going to say that that's going to be a tough sell, not because there's anything like wrong. I think it's just what Charlotte is going to need is someone with a unique set of interests, because she's fascinating, but like it's not going to be for everybody. But someone out there, they're going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, well, I mean, my ears perked on climbing trees. My ears perked on 3 cats.
Okay, tarot cards, is that cool?
I don't know much about that.
That's like reading someone's fortune with cards. That's awesome.
Certainly, ghost hunting and things like that is interesting. Mostly the cats kind of perked my.
I
like
really
that.
enjoyed her profile. I think like you would have so much to talk to Charlotte about on the first date. There's not going to be a dull moment. For one, a cashier deals with the armpit of society day in and day out. So I bet you she has so many stories just related to working as a cashier. Add on to that, you read tarot cards, so you can predict my life and future. You're a ghost hunter. You're into like classic sitcoms. What's cooler than that? True crime, and loves the show. I think Charlotte is a real prize for the right guy out there. What she didn't say is what she was looking for, though.
No, that's right. Yeah. So I guess we'll just have to go off of if somebody's interested, reach out either through email or through voicemail at nighttimepodcast.com/contact.
Either's appropriate. Yeah, if you go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact, there's a spot there where you can send a voicemail. You can send me an email at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com. Just make sure it's obvious in the subject line. Keep Canada Romantic Charlotte I want to connect with her. If you're in the Texas area and you like someone who says y'all and is into ghosts and tarot cards
and climbing trees,
what a unique interest. Like, tell me 5 things about you. If one of them is I like to climb trees, that's special.
Yeah. That's all you have to say is I like to climb trees. I'm interested.
Just say no more.
Don't say any more because it might turn me off. Just tell me you like to climb trees. We'll start from there.
That's good. This has been a great night. A lot of weird stories. Progress update for one dating profile, a new dating profile presented. Is there anything we didn't do? Is there anything we didn't tease, like upcoming bonus episodes to talk about?
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that yet either. My God, this is a jam-packed episode. My God.
Okay, let's do an elevator pitch. I'm going to count in my head to 20. You got 20 seconds to tell us about what's coming as a bonus episode on the Keep Canada Weird feed and the Nighttime Podcast Premium feed, starting now.
Have you ever seen the movie Canadian Bacon? Well, if you have, great. If you haven't, even better, because we are doing a special movie review episode for Keep Canada Weird on the movie Canadian Bacon. So Jordan and I have watched it. We've analyzed it. We go through it frame by frame, and you got to check it out. It's only on the Keep Canada Weird feed and the Patreon feed for nighttime, correct?
Yeah. Exactly. And what makes it special and timely to do Canadian Bacon now is it's a movie from 1993 that involves the American government choosing to attempt to take over Canada. And there are a lot of similarities with present day issues. We have mentions of the 51st state in the movie Canadian Bacon. Instead of Make America Great Again, The Canadian Bacon version from 1993 is God Bless America again. There's all these similarities through the movie that we picked up that mirror the geopolitical climate right now. So that's a fun one. And that's coming to the Keep Canada Weird feed and the Nighttime Podcast Premium feed early next week. So watch the movie and then listen to us talk about it.
That's the best way to do it.
Now, with all that said, let's put a bow in this. Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan, Backhoe, Bus Stop Bonaparte, until next time.
Where you are in Sydney, Cape Breton, you have a giant fiddle. That's kind of like your roadside attraction. Next time you walk by that fiddle, maybe give it a little rub on the side and say, I'm glad you're here, fiddle. And I cherish my time with you, because you never know when the Chamber of Commerce is going to be like, we're going to refocus. Let's tear down the fiddle.
Well, Jordan, until next time, I certainly hope the fiddle consents to that before I rub it anywhere.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you could email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.